Now, Israel has vowed revenge for the strike, sparking fears of a regional escalation. Let's speak now to Jeenah. He is a researcher at the Mapungubwe Institute for Strategic Reflection. Mr. Jeenah, good evening to you, and thank you very much for your time. Are the fears of a regional escalation in the main war that was initially centered around Hamas versus Israel, is this the escalation that everybody had been warning against?
Well, it's potentially there. I mean, if Israel launches further attacks deeper into Lebanon, then it possibly could escalate into a Lebanese-Israeli war and then into possibly a regional war. So I think that the fears for that are justified. Of course, using the pretext of the bombing of the school is a bit of a problem, because Hezbollah has denied that it was their rockets that landed in the school and killed the people there. But the Israeli government, which, as we know, is the most right-wing and most racist government that Israel has ever had, which is saying quite a lot, is determined, in fact, to have a war with both Hezbollah in Lebanon as well as with Iran. It's almost a kind of fatalistic attitude that this government has. With that kind of an attitude, rather than a kind of realist approach to the issues, I think that the fears that there might be a war are quite justified, yes.
Who is to intervene at this point? And I'm asking this question particularly aware of the US possibly not being as strong right now, given that country's situation. They are going into an election. There is uncertainty about how strong Biden may be. Yes, the Israeli Prime Minister recently addressing in the Congress in the United States, much to the displeasure of some of the politicians there. But who might have Israel's ear right now, and who does Israel listen to?
Well, after 10 months of genocide in Gaza, it's clear that Israel doesn't care to listen to anyone. And that attitude will continue as long as the United States and Germany and others continue arming Israel. I mean, there's the World Court, the International Court of Justice, has said that there's a plausible case for genocide that's taking place in Gaza. The World Court has said that what Israel is perpetrating is apartheid. Its occupation is illegal. This was 2 weeks ago or a week ago. Its occupation is illegal. All of its settlers have to leave the West Bank, etc. But as long as the United States, Germany, and other countries continue arming Israel and being complicit in its genocide, Israel has no problem in continuing doing whatever it wants to do, because it knows that no one is going to take action. The highest court in the world has ruled against it, yet the United Nations is not able to take action. As long as it's those who are arming it continue arming it, it's fine. So we are at a stage at the moment where the world is watching a genocide taking place and doesn't want to stop it. The world is watching a potential regional war slowly unfold in front of its eyes, and wrings its hands and is unwilling to do anything. I think that no one will come out of such a war happier at the end of it. Not Israelis, not Lebanese, and not anyone else in that region, but those who are enabling Israel are really the ones who are guilty of any escalation that will take place, and are guilty of the genocide that's taking place in Gaza.
Israel will always argue that it has the right to defend itself, and so what has happened at the Golan Heights is something that they could put up as a legitimate reason why they have to respond.
Sure. I mean, Israel makes all kinds of spurious claims, like its claim that it has the right to defend itself against the people whom it occupies, Palestinians. In fact, in terms of Article 51 of the UN Charter, that right doesn't exist for Israel against the people it occupies. In terms of the Golan, yes, it has a right to defend itself against another state that violates its sovereignty and stability, etc. And let's be clear, over the past 10 months, there's been almost daily exchange of fire and rockets across the Lebanese-Israeli border. Not once has Hezbollah denied that its rockets were flying over the border into Israel. But what happened at Majd al-Shams, at that school, Hezbollah has denied it. And so if you want to say that it has the right to defend itself, who is it going to defend itself against? You know, it first needs to find who the perpetrators are, find if there are ways in which to for them to be brought to justice. You can't simply launch a war against the country because you think that they are the ones responsible. And so, you know, again, as I said, many in the Israeli government are actually itching for a war, and they'll jump on any pretext in order to cause one.
Let's then go back to the Hamas-Israeli conflict. Where is that right now? And is there any hope of a ceasefire as things stand?
Well, firstly, I mean, it's not the Hamas-Israeli conflict. It's the conflict between, or the war, if you like, between Israel and the resistance forces in Gaza. Hamas is one of about a dozen such formations in Gaza that are resisting Israel. And, you know, more correctly, as South Africa has argued in the International Court of Justice, what is taking place is a genocide and people resisting that genocide. Where it stands at the moment is that as part of that genocide, there's been a confirmed number of around 40,000 people, mostly civilians, who have been killed. And 10 to 15,000 who are missing under the rubble. So we can presume that most of them are also dead. So you're looking at probably somewhere around 50,000 people who have been killed by Israel's non-stop bombing from the air, land, and sea of that very small strip of land. In terms of the ceasefire issue, look, weeks ago, about a month ago, the American President Joe Biden announced very triumphantly that he has a proposal in hand for a ceasefire, and claimed that that proposal came from the Israeli government. The Israeli government didn't respond to say, yes, this is ours, and, you know, Hamas should come to the table, or the resistance should come to the table. They remained quiet. The Gaza resistance forces said they were willing to entertain the proposal and wanted a ceasefire and were willing to abide by the proposal. It was Israel then that refused. Yeah. And so it's clear that Israel does not want a ceasefire. I mean, not just by implication. Netanyahu has said it clearly, explicitly, on numerous occasions, that he does not want a ceasefire. He has set himself certain targets, unreachable targets, and you know, for example, that Hamas will be rooted out of Gaza. It's an impossible target to reach. He's come after 10 months with one of the most powerful armies in the world, has come no closer to meeting that target than he did on the 31st of October. And so his line is that until Hamas has been rooted out, the genocide on Gaza will continue, which means that clearly they want to murder as many civilians as possible before there's any kind of a ceasefire. So it's that is holding up any prospect of a ceasefire and peace. The Israeli determination to murder as many Palestinians as they can. So if your question is, what are the prospects for a ceasefire soon? Unfortunately, not great. The Israelis don't want a ceasefire. The Israelis want to continue the genocide and continue killing Palestinians. And Netanyahu's speech in the U.S., in the U.S. Congress, I mean, he lied. He said that, you know, they're close to destroying Hamas. when we are seeing videos on a daily basis of Hamas, Islamic Jihad, the Popular Front, and other armed groups in Gaza that are maintaining command and control of the forces, of the resistance forces, that have secure communications despite the Israelis taking over the territory and having drones flying overhead 24 hours a day, secure communications, an abundance of weaponry that they are resisting with.
Yeah.
And so Israel is nowhere close to destroying the resistance in Gaza. He lied.
Naeem Jeenah, thank you very much for your time, a researcher at the Mapungubwe Institute for Strategic Reflection.